Hello everyone, tonight on Business Live, passengers traveling on British Airways from Accra to London should expect to land at London Gatwick Airport instead of Heathrow effective end of October. Meanwhile, Egypt Air is set to commence a new Ghana airline to be called Air Ghana in the next couple of months. We've got those stories coming up for you. Also coming up, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana keeps policy rate unchanged at 14.5%, citing threats to economic growth. And we'll hear from the civil and local government staff petitioning the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to investigate SNIT. We'll find out why. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details right after this. That was a check of the commodity market to begin our bulletin today. We want to delve straight to our stories, to begin with the aviation sector, where passengers traveling from Accra to London should expect to land at London Gatwick Airport instead of Heathrow effective end of October. Passengers departing London for Accra must also originate their travel from Gatwick. This follows British Airways' resolve to move the London-Accra-London flights from Heathrow to Gatwick at the end of October 2021. The change in the airport has already been effected on the airline's online booking system. Charles Aite has more on that and latest developments with the national carrier. We are learning that Egypt Air will begin operating Ghana's national carrier, Air Ghana, in a couple of months. Here's his report.
A month ago, British Airways announced that effective March 28, its London-Accra-London flight will operate from Gatwick Airport instead of Heathrow. This move has changed. British Airways says passengers traveling from Accra to London should expect to land at London Gatwick Airport instead of Heathrow effective October this year. Ranking member on Roads and Transport Committee Kwame Abuja is asking government to sanction BA if they proceed with this decision.
If you were to try to book a flight from Accra into London from 31st October, you would automatically be routed to Gatwick. What it means is that they have effected that at the blind side of the Ghana government and their Ghanaian customers, and that's a very bad faith. I am encouraging government to go back to use the diplomatic channels to try to address this, or let's take some action. Sadly, there's no direct flight from Ghana, from Accra to Heathrow. I would have said that let's boycott Heathrow. Let's boycott British Airways.
Another development in the aviation space is that Egypt Air is looking to expand in Africa as air traffic recovers from the pandemic, even as the carrier seeks more than $300 million in additional government aid. The state-owned airline plans to help develop a new Ghanaian carrier and is weighing a joint venture with a Sudanese airline, according to its chief executive, Roshdi Zakaria. The new airline, likely called Air Ghana, will probably begin operations in May. Sean Mendes is an aviation expert.
Well, there's definitely going to be some level of conflict. Whether that's acceptable to the government of Ghana or not is to be determined. Egypt Air itself is a government-owned airline. So while you may not be having, you may be saying that the government of Ghana will not be interfering in the airline's operations. If Egypt Air is your strategic partner, that means the government of Egypt is going to be calling the shots. Now, is that acceptable to Ghana? I don't know.
Ghana is poised to becoming the aviation hub in West Africa. But even as tensions mount between government and British Airways, also the uncertainty regarding partnership agreement for a national carrier, concerns arrive over the priorities of the sector, even as it is also being merged under the Transport Ministry.
Charles Aite bringing us those stories from the aviation sector. Moving on to another story we're following for you today. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has kept its policy rate unchanged. According to the central bank, the decision was based on some threats to the country's growth outlook. George Rafi has more in this report.
This is the second time this year that the Bank of Ghana has left the rate at which it lends to commercial banks unchanged. The committee in their statement maintained that this is due to what it can describe as some marginal challenges to the growth outlook of the economy. This resulted in the committee voting to hold the rate at 14.5%. The action by the committee could mean that there wouldn't be any significant change in the cost of lending and interest rates for the next 2 months, especially for banks that depend largely on the Bank of Ghana borrowings for their operations. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, maintained that there are some emerging short-term threats that they are also monitoring, hence the need to hold the rate. One can talk about the rising crude oil prices and the secondary price effect on revenue measures announced in the 2021 budget. The governor in the statement maintained that despite these challenges, the banking sector can still be described as being strong and well positioned to manage the threats of COVID-19.
Now, the city is expected to remain largely stable for the greater part of the year. This is a good sign since it will help institutional and retail consumers plan well into the year. According to the Bank of Ghana, the cedi has appreciated by 0.6% to the dollar on the interbank market, but even stronger at forex bureaus. Currency analyst Karijmati tells Joy Business the trend is expected to continue, though there are anticipated pressures during the latter part of the year.
Appreciation it has recorded from the start of this year doesn't give us reason to think that it will remain in the appreciation territory until the end of the year. Definitely there will still be some modest depreciation to come during the course of the year, generally because we are still recording a deficit, or we will still record a deficit on the current account balance, and that deficit definitely would cause some level of depreciation. But we believe this will be depreciations that will be within acceptable range, one that would not disturb market confidence, as we saw last year when, despite the positive start or the strong start to the year, it still depreciated by some 3.9%, but it was a depreciation that did not disturb market sentiment and confidence. This is the kind of outlook we have for 2021 as well. Of course, as the economy is expected to recover, the import side of the economy also should pull up some demand for FX.
His union, ICU, says new taxes announced in the 2021 budget would aggravate the already precarious economic situation. Here's more in this report by Prince Apia.
Statistics indicate that 770,000 Ghanaian workers had their wages cut, while 42,000 workers lost their jobs due to the devastating impact of COVID-19 on businesses. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union observed the new taxes and levies in the 2021 budget will further burden the Ghanaian worker. Acting General Secretary Morgan Ayawini spoke to Law Business at the regional conference of the ICU in the Ashanti region.
With regard to the recent budget and the number of taxes that were outlined is our problem. We are told that it is to deal with the COVID-19 challenges, but the taxes levels must be realistic. The timing must be realistic. Is it realistic for us to introduce a sweeping, of taxes at this time when government is supposed to deal with the hydra-headed unemployment situation in the country? Now, our fear is that will government be able to realize its objective of job creation? We feel that this is rather going to derail government good intention to create more jobs.
Mr. Yawene wants the government to put in measures to cushion workers against the effects of the new taxes and levies.
If we're talking about COVID-19 difficulties or challenges, it doesn't affect only government, it doesn't affect only government budgets and all that. It affects every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this country. The individuals who are even the vulnerable need some support. So if government in their own wisdom think that that is the way to go in order to deal with the COVID-19 challenges, then government will have to introduce or put pragmatic measures in place to deal with the matters holistically. You should also look at the plight of the workers, whether within this period the workers or Ghanaians can manage so many taxes.
The conference held in Kumasi is a prelude to the 11th Quadrennial Delegate Conference of the ICU. New executives were elected to champion the objectives of the union for the next 4 years. Prince Apia, reporting.
Now, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana has petitioned the National Pensions Regulatory Authority over an alleged submission of processing forms for retirees, which is likely to deny their members the full benefits of retirement. According to CLOGSAC, the said form was designed in a manner that denies pensioners any further claims thereafter. The association said retirees to sign such declaration forms to cause retirees to sign such declaration forms was wrong, and has therefore petitioned the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to investigate this unwholesome demand from SNIT and apply appropriate sanctions. Let's hear from the Executive Secretary of CLOGSAC, Isaac Bampo Addo, who addressed a press conference today.
I think for the past month, the petitions have been pouring in, day in, every day, with various issues relating to how they've been shortchanged, relating to their pension benefits. So the petitions are every day, the petitions are coming. So far, about 150 petitions on pension issues we have received.
What actions have you taken?
Well, we have notified and petitioned the NPRA, since they are the regulators relating to pensions. And our good selves and SNIT, we are all being regulated by NPRA. So that is the authority. So we've given them 2 weeks since last week. We want to see what action NPRA will take against SNIT related to these issues. Because it's very clear that our pensioners are being given a raw deal. The ignorant ones are being paid Kofi pension. And as an association, I don't think we'll sit by and allow our members to be cheated. We've been having some meetings. Currently, we are yet to conclude the formula. The technical teams have met, and we're about to conclude the formula for the calculation of benefits. That's why we are at a loss, that whilst the formula has not been concluded, SNIT is coercing our retirees to sign a declaration accepting the bogus formula they are using to calculate pension benefits. It's bad faith. It's bad faith. I think you should ask that question. You are part of the committee. We've not concluded on the formula, and then this bogus formula you are using to calculate pensions for our retirees, you are now forcing them to sign a declaration that they accept the basis of the computation. It is bad faith. We won't sit by for our members to take Kofi pension. No way. Mind you, we are all coming, we also go on pension. And if these things are not corrected now, when we go to pension, you should imagine. So this time, the time to fight. We are fighting for our good selves too. And imagine somebody working for 39 years. And for 28 years, SNIT contribution to SNIT, 28 years contribution to SNIT, he was given 8,000 Ghana cedis. And for 11 years of contribution to the second tier, to the Health Pension Trust, he was given 24,000. 11 years, 24,000. 28 years with SNIT, 8,000. You see the huge gap. So what are they doing with the money?
You're going to hear next from Michael Siti Komla, who has retired from the Ministry of Local Government. He says he refused to sign the document because the latter stated that his pension should be processed with his current statement, hence his reason for petitioning.
I collected my retirement letter from the HR from KN, and he said I should send it to Senate for to process my for me, the pension. But according to the personnel over there, they said if they will process it, you have to sign some letter, acceptance letter. So they wrote the letter and then gave it to me. Then I just read through the distance and no, I won't sign this letter. If I sign that letter, that means I'm the one who wrote that letter. So if there is any benefit or any top up, I'm not going to get it. So I refused to sign. It started it, I'm microcity, but I'm not the one. This is I microcity with SS number, this and this and this. To accept and confirm my statement from February 1981 to January 2021 as a genuine. I also wish to state that my pension should be processed with my current statements. Just briefly, I'm not the one who. If I sign them, I've committed myself. If they will, in the near future there will be some top up, I'm not going to get it. So that's why I petition the closer.
We'll see how that unfolds. Let's move on to other stories. Delays have been identified as the primary root cause of administrative corruption in the country. That's according to research financed by the Ghana Integrity Initiative and the Private Enterprise Federation on using service delivery charters to promote business integrity in the country. Now, from the perspective of the private sector, the delays are attributable to sluggishness and incompetence of mostly staff, bureaucracy, amongst others. Now, similar trends were seen in the public sector, though lack of resources was a major issue in the public sector. Now, some of the institutions surveyed were the DVLA, the Registrar General's Department, the Environmental Protection Agency, as well as the Passport Office. Clara Biri-Kaseti is lead consultant.
Service delivery charters, if effectively implemented, is able to address a lot of the challenges that give rise to corruption. One is information. If you have an effective service delivery charter, it contains all the information that the private sector needs. So there is a one-stop shop document they can go to, and they know what is required. It indicates the fees, it indicates the timelines, it indicates complaint mechanisms that must be enforced, which also must go hand in hand with sanctions when public officers delay in the provision of services. So using the service delivery charter, we ensure transparency. There is the right to information that would come with it. And most importantly, it will also lead to change of attitudes because it seeks to re-engineer the focus of public services to service delivery, people-centered. Because then you know that you have an obligation to provide efficient services rather than power to exercise over people, as well as the people also seeing that they have a right to efficient service delivery. It's not a favor being done them.
All right, Clara Biri-Kaseti offering some solutions to corruption in service delivery. Now, presiding members of the various assemblies in the Ashanti region have been tasked to assist in the growth of private businesses in their localities. President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Nana Apia J. Dankwaso I, says such support will enhance job creation and help boost internally generated funds of assemblies. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
Nana Dr. Apia Ajay was speaking at a meeting in Kumasi. He urged presiding members to adopt and implement innovative policies with the available resources at their disposal to develop their respective areas.
We need to have a good private sector running. Government cannot pay taxes to himself or herself. So therefore, it is also necessary and important that they find a better way to improve on the internally generated funds at the level of the assemblies. If they are able to do that, then they will be able to educate the masses at that level and to have the best practice at that level. And that's why I said that it is very important, it is very, very useful also to have good governance, where we have the private sector support to make sure that employment can also be generated at that level, to make sure that people do not go to fight on the non-existence of white-collar jobs in the city.
Isaac Ohiming Prempe is the Dean of Presiding Members in the Ashanti region.
Conference this morning, we deliberated on a lot of issues, but the key ones we want to talk about is the office of presiding members. But some of the assemblies, you will go there, you don't meet the presiding member because the person is not having an office where he will operate from. And aside that, the budget that is being approved every year, there's nothing like allocation to the presiding member's office. By that, the NALA president talks about for the assembly members. But we are still appealing that if the presiding members for the various assemblies will be given a car, that will help us to work.
Mr. Prempe also challenged his colleagues to put their expertise to bear in budget formulation at the assembly level.
We are still appealing.
President of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, Bismarck Inkum, called on the government to support presiding members.
We will be discussing this with the minister and see the way forward. And I know they have also raised the issue about ex gratia, that it has also been made the responsibility of the assemblies. It's a constitutional requirement that the payment of such should come from the assembly's own resources, and that is the internally generated fund. And the concern is that there are assemblies that can't even raise up to 50,000, 20,000 in a year. So if they have 20, 30, or say 40 assembly members, and they have to pay 40,000 in ex gratia, where are they going to get the money from? So they are asking for uniformity, and also for government to look at possibility of changing the law so that that cost will be borne by central government.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now, March 20 is marked every year as World Oral Health Day. To commemorate the day, Pepsodent, a brand under Unilever Ghana, has donated some items to the Osu Children's Home. Here's more.
Unilever's Pepsodent brand's Brush With Me campaign is designed to remind parents of their responsibilities in taking care of the oral health of themselves and their children, and also encourage families to brush better together. The Brush With Me global campaign is driven by the new research which proves that children are 7 times more likely to skip brushing if their parents do not brush twice daily. Joel Boateng, Category Manager for Oral Health, explains that his outfit chose to donate to the Osu Children's Home because the Brush With Me campaign is not only directed to children with parents, but to every child.
The campaign in itself is very broad, which is Brush With Me, inculcating the habit of brushing with kids by all the elderly people, all Ghanaians, all guardians, all parents. By so doing, we know that kids mirror what they see. And as they see what parents are doing for them, it will become a practice for now and also into the future. And that is why we've come here. We acknowledge that the Osu Children's Home are people with different backgrounds. And we also want to show solidarity at this point in time to stand behind them and practice this behavior with them so that they are not left out.
Meanwhile, he said the goal is not directed at gaining sales, but to create a cavity-free world. He further revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic has not affected their sales.
Every smile matters. We believe that once we are able to solve issues with the teeth or the mouth, ultimately we are helping to reduce the number of times you would have to probably spend money to secure help and assistance. And we have good affordable brands. The brand is benefiting in the form of doing good to society. And once we have a cavity-free society, we believe that the world will be a better place. COVID has come with its challenges to all categories. It has unfortunately not been unfavorable to the brand. So simply put, we have had it good as far as COVID is concerned. We continue to see good patronage from Ghanaians, which we are grateful for and humble. We are hoping that Ghanaians would continue to stay with the brand for the good we do in society and also for the nation at large. And so I would say that we have had it on the positive side as far as the COVID challenges have been.
Janet Ahiaga, a social worker at the Osu Children's Home, expressed gratitude to Unilever for the donation. According to her, this has relieved the home of some burden and will help the kids practice more personal hygiene.
And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. We're leaving you with Money Lab.
Welcome to the budget edition of Money Lab. Our intention is to guide you to appreciate what the budget statement is about and how it applies to your finances and your daily life. Today, we want to look at specific things in the budget that you must take note of. Number one is that if you are an investor in listed stocks, if you have bought some shares, the good news is that there is going to be a permanent suspension of tax on capital gains. And so this is one of the best times to keep an eye on the gains you are making on the stock exchange. I mean the Ghana Stock Exchange, because the taxes that would have charged you on the gains you make on your shares are going to be suspended, not just up to 2024, but potentially permanently. And so all the extra incomes you are making, you can find very good stocks, identify and find a broker and make sure you buy them so that you can not just make returns on dividends, but you can make returns on your capital gains that are not going to be taxed.